Happy Wednesday. All good. All right, let's get rolling. I got a few things to discuss here. Pretty interesting stuff. So let's start on the daily chart for a second. And let's understand where the 20-period moving average is. Happens to be down here at 467, whatever, just call it 468, give or take. Okay. Now, I'm not saying they get there today, and I'm not saying they can or can't. Either way, I'm just saying let's know about that because it's important. What else is important? This fake out down day from the December 20th, closing prices are always important. Whether they prove important later on every single closing price remains a mystery. It doesn't matter. The point is, when you have a day like that, the market chose to close at a certain price. We don't care why. We don't have to understand why that's important. We just have to realize that, take my word for it, maybe it's important. And so that also happens to be 468.26. So right around this 468 area is really important. So we should just know that going in with the just in case in mind, if they hit them a little bit at the open or at any point, that's an important place. Okay, let's drill down a little bit more. We had the thieves in the morning show up already, and you can see where they went to, where they are, okay? They're close. Now, we're calling a zone 470.10, give or take, down to 468. Let me show you the number. This low here, again, was chosen by Mrs. Market as an important place, choosing to come up short of filling an open gap down here. This is a gateway. It's reasonable for a bull-bear battle, which creates a zone. And if it's wrong, they go to close this gap all the way down at 468, and we just talked about it. So I don't love a zone to be $2 from 470 to 468, but take it for what it's worth. That's the way I see the market today. I'm not saying they get there. I'm saying if they do, understand what the importance of this area is just in case. Okay. So there you have it. So basically, an initial bounce zone is below 470.10, around 470.10, on down here to 468. I forgot that number again. 84, 85. Okay. So that's, I'm going to demark that. Okay. Yeah, Bitcoin's getting crushed. They never got to my next number, and they're getting absolutely demolished. Saw that, Will. And that's why it's not a store of value. That's a good example. I don't know, Bitcoin, I have Bitcoin futures here. They're down. This is delayed. I don't know, it says 6%, could be more or less, I'm not sure. But either way, we've got a minute to post time. Oh, we've got some stocks on the move as well. 8%, Shannon says, yeah, that's not a store of value. That's a wild rodeo. Speculative wild rodeo. Upstart, it's close. Flex isn't close. Coinbase, I don't believe is close. Is close. Here's Nvidia. All right, they're close to, they're just 3 S&P points away, 30 cents away from the place. So we'll see. They're just flirting with yesterday's low is all that's going on right now. 339.50. I'm not sure what that represents. What is that? Okay, there's the bell. My bell was off.
Firm looks like it hit the number.
Sorry,
yeah,
we got
5
it.
cents forward.
All right, let's see what we got here. Affirm, yep. Jordan, yep. Let's see, low 70. No, I got the low at 70. You have something different?
Mine saying, yeah, I think it says 70. It's like it's actually updating as I'm doing it, which is weird.
Well, I'll check my other chart.
Now mine says 70.
70. Qs are bouncing. They got to within the stone's throw, 19, 9 cents away. Sometimes they come up short, other times they spike them through. It doesn't mean they won't get there, but it's that conversation about splitting hairs over pennies. The concept is, and you don't have to practice this, it's just this is the concept. If you're willing to buy 470.10, you're willing to buy 470.19, you're also willing to buy a spike of 470 alternatively. So it's give or take. Let's see what's going on here. Is Flex even open? Let's reload it. Okay, that went the other way. All right. 11. Okay. Now they got it. So now they've officially hit the place. They're in the zone. We're expecting a bounce back in the other direction. Could go a little lower, but that's okay. This is officially the top of the zone. Initial bounce. Remember, they're a scalp with potential. What that means is you take 5 to 7 S&P points on an initial profit base hit, and you hold for the never know, a trailing position, however much you want as it relates to your total position. Half, a quarter, 60%, 40%, whatever. That's why one entry, one trick pony is a difficult endeavor, but trader's choice. Matt, you want to email me on that separately? I'll take care of it for you. Just shoot me a one-liner. I'll know what it's about. The first order of business in support is they stop going in the direction they're going. Then a decision comes whether they bounce back right away or eat some time off the clock. And we just take it one step at a time. Yep, Will already made a grand in the Qs. 29 seconds, not bad. Well done, Will. We'll drop back down. They give you 4 points. Brandon took it. I'm assuming you took the profit already, Brandon? Or some profit or something? Or just commenting on Will's trade? Either way. Maybe it's commenting on Will's trade. That's probably what it was. And if they come down lower, it's still within the zone, just like yesterday. Really the same ultimate schematic as yesterday for the most part for now. We got no change. This is a patience business. You have to have patience. Sometimes things work out right away. Other times you have to wait, sweat it out a little bit. That's part of the business. First day, how do you view the chat room? You can ask questions in the comment box, and then I answer them. Shannon. But you can't view other people's questions. It's unproductive. Yeah, there's ISM and Jolts at 9 or 10 o'clock. Yep, something like that. Thanks, Mark. FOMC at 2. What's that? Minutes or something? Yeah. Okay. The watered down version of what they want you to believe? Sounds about right. Kabuki propaganda, Mark. And we know the routine. At some point, they got to get out of here. Otherwise, they start to hang around down here long enough and they're setting up to go a little bit lower, just so we know in advance what we're looking at. So for now, it's okay, but they really do need to get out of here, sooner than later. If they go lower, it's still within the zone. There's nothing wrong with it. It just means they're not ready yet. A little better, a little better, a little better. They tested the opening range high. We'll profit taking up there, normal garden variety stuff, the 2-point traders. The next thing is they got to get above the opening range high, and then they can pop it a little bit. NVIDIA, let's take a look. Look at that. How about that 475? They never got there yesterday, and look at that. My goodness. Did you buy that, Will? Just curious. Should have brought that up earlier. I did the work this morning, and then I forgot to show it to you. And let me show you why. This is fascinating. This high here at 165.44 is the run it up here, Mrs. Market says no chance, and then this becomes a breakout area when they go back up, and they've come back to retest that area, and I had a number right in front of that, and that's right below it, and sometimes they come up short, other times they spike them through. The low today is 165.70. This number again was 165.44. So you could see how important that general area was. And when I came up with a number, that's interesting. And that explains part of the NVIDIA bounce too. Look where IWM is, right? Teetering on no man's land. It's showtime right here. The bulls have to play defense right here, or otherwise it comes all the way down here and it begins to change things. Broke out above all these pivots. Now they're coming back to test them. Can they stay above, or are they going to break it a little bit? No man's land. IWM. Down $3 today. 205.50, 60, remember? Stone cold short. Or the other way around, maybe. We'll see. Tesla. Let's see. I didn't look at this morning. Oh, look where they are. Right at that trend line. Look at that. Break out above the trend line. Come back to retest it. You have a gap down here. 239.29. I'll get another number if we need it. It's going to be down around 235. But let's see if that trend line holds. That's interesting, right? They're still playing around with the 470.10. Nothing wrong with the spiders down here. Pardon me. So they're coming a little lower. Again, no change. They're still in the zone. So far, what'd they do? They spiked the low, and they're trying to rip it back up in the other direction. Anybody surprised? Apple? No. 183.90. That was hit yesterday and today. That was the number. That was the second number from yesterday in Apple. Just put this in perspective as the just in case. Whoops. I'm not saying they get there even today. They can, they may not. I'm just saying if they do, it's a big spot. First order of business in support is they stop going in the direction they're going. So they've done that. Now they're hanging around for a little while. It's called a bull-bear battle. Bears are trying to push price lower and the bulls are trying to play defense. Who's got more gusto right now? Anything going on over here? Here they come again. Can they get above the opening range high? So those of you that were putting in comments before about the fake out and they're going to go down and all that stuff, suck in the bulls and then collapse it, all that. The reason I didn't make any comments on those comments is because it's not the way it works all the time. They're enticing you to believe that's what was happening. And it may still go down. But again, they just gave it to you again. Yeah, Chad played pinball a couple of times. Good job. Because you've seen this many times. Sometimes it's not a matter of what you think you see, but more a matter of what you know to be true or what you believe to be the case the majority of the time. I believe the case the majority of the time will find support at my numbers, even if they play games with them for a while. Games are normal, and that's the way I look at it until proven wrong. I'm okay with being proven wrong. Mitch got a second base hit, same routine as Chad. Yeah, what I said before holds true. The longer they stay down here, the more energy they're building to go lower. If they can't rally, what's going to happen? The other thing's going to happen. The anomaly would be staying down here indefinitely, right? So that's not going to happen. So if they can't rally them, what's going to happen? They're going to get pushed lower. But again, it's still in the zone. They're just at the top of the zone right now, and they've already given you a couple of base hits for those that wanted it. It's something for everybody. Tesla's going lower. Tesla's going lower. They want to fill that gap. That gap is just a gap. It's not anything other than a gap. There's a 50-50 shot they'll bounce it at the gap. All right, spiders are going a little bit lower. I'm looking for another number in Tesla a bit better. Yeah. If they're going to come through the gap, that's a possibility of a bounce. And there's your numbers for today in Tesla. They don't bounce it at 238.20. It opens the door for this, and this is a good zone down here. So this is higher risk. This is lower risk. All right, so spiders gave you a couple base hits, maybe bunt for base hit, come a little lower into the zone. Again, there's no change. They're still in the zone. Doesn't mean they get to 468.85. I showed you what that was. That's an important place on the chart. Mrs. Market told us, which is also the gateway essentially to the 20 period moving average. Just got a profit target on CAT, short CAT, the swing trades. There you go. Not bad. It's another bounce. The spiders, again, anywhere in the zone. They don't have to get here. Just saying this is a zone. It's a support zone. Let's see what the IWM's doing. Yep. They're flirting. Low here. 195.95. Low here. So it's 195.95. So they're flirting. Sometimes they spike that and rip it back, but if they start closing candles below 195.95, there's your rip. Is that the 10 o'clock data jolt? 195.95. There it is. There it is. Nice trade. And there it is. Yep. Thank you, 10 o'clock data jolt. How you doing? Nice trade. Be right back. Hopefully some traders got a profit off. Plus 900 for Eric. 300 for Bob. 700 for Ron. 630 for Brent. Chad got another 5 points. 400 for Damien. 350 for Lee. 1662.50 for John H. 1800 in the pocket for Sean. Well done. Well done. They're still in the zone. Believe it or not, nothing's changed. Now, it's not the same anymore. They gave you a nice trade out of it, but they're still in the zone. Yeah, if they get close to 469, 468.85 in that zone, that's another opportunity, Scott and everybody. I would call the next zone down here in this general area down to the 20 period moving average on the daily chart, 468, give or take. That's my next zone. 1,500 and a trailer for Eddie K. Well done, Eddie. Love it. Absolutely love it. Fourth base hit in the trailer for Mitch. Well done. Play it again, Sam. Well done, Mitch. Just different perspective, 15-minute chart. It doesn't look as wild as this. It's not that this is wild, but you just get a different perspective. A couple of 3 down candles, a bounce. When you look at 10s and 15s, alternate candles on a 30. It's just normal garden variety stuff. Jason, $1,817. Well done, Jason A. Love it. Absolutely fantastic. You just hold it. If you're still holding a trailer, you hold it. If you bought a new position on the dip, you hold it. Doesn't cost you anything to hold it. Another $1.50 for Bob. 15 points plus a trailer for Jeffrey G. Well done. Happy New Year, John W. Trailer. 3.7K in the pocket and holding, John W. How fantastic is that? How fantastic is that? That deserved to said it twice. Bob's got a trailer. Well done. Well done. There's my profit. How you doing? 2K and RTY banked. Riz, well done. 12,294 in the pocket. How you doing for Sammy? How you doing, Sammy? 9 points secured on the final trailer for Mark T. I'm looking for the pivot. 471.85 and higher on my trailer. And if they come back down, that's okay. Held out for a little bit more in the base hit. Well done, folks. I'm here. I'll be right back. I'm just going to update the notes and stuff. The opening range high is 470.53. All right. It would be convenient if they stayed above there on candle closes. Coming down to test 470.10, they could do that. Obviously, they're trying to do that. Anything goes from this point. The easy money was made. Now, if they come below the low of day, same thing holds true. Close to 469, give or take, 468.85. That's the next zone, down to 468. Okay, for me. No change. Next trade for me on the long side is around 469. If they get there, down to 468, give or take. That's it. If a trader wanted to buy a spike of the low and not wait for 469, that's up to them. I'm telling you what I'm willing to do. Especially since I have profit in the pocket, right? I'm not looking to give it back so fast. I'm not looking to give it back at all. So I'm going to make them give me what I want. That's right. That's why you take the money and run. That's why you pile up the base hits. You never know which ones are going to give you the secondary push, the rocket ride, the whole 9 yards. I say it every day, and that's why we pile up the base hits. And you take the stand-up doubles, the triples, the whoppers. You take them as they come because you never know when they're going to come. So you just use the process. Take the base hit and don't let the trailer go bad on you. That's the process. Armand shorted the Qs at 10 o'clock. Nice trade. I don't even know what that means, Will, but it sounds to me like it's right about my place. That's correct, Shannon. You learn that over time. You never know. You know where important stuff is. You know the reasons why, because it works most of the time. But what you don't know is when they're going to get there, how they're going to get there. You don't know what they're going to do 5 minutes from now. None of that. I do too, Will. Good, Shannon. That is something to work on, always. For everybody, including me. 469, give or take, down to 468, give or take. That's the next zone for me. No change. I'm watching. It's patience. If they come down a little bit lower, let's take a look at the Qs. No, I don't see it. Maybe. That's a reversal on a 15-minute chart. It's an attempt to rally and a reversal. I'm still waiting for 469, give or take. Low is 28. Is that low enough? Not for me. IWM, yep, spiking the low. They're at the low. They didn't get there yet. Now they will. 96. 96. You don't think they know about that place? You betcha. Looking at other stuff on my charts just to see if there's anything else moving, playable. Let's see. Yep. I know about it, Shannon. That was my alarm that just went off. All right, so IWM got to that place. Now they're spiking it. No, it would not, Will. Never entered my mind. But that doesn't mean they don't line up with that, because that's what the makings of full stack situations are when they line up with other stuff. When my numbers line up with something important, it doesn't have to be just things I think are important, but there's plenty of things out there that can be important that I'm not mentioning at any particular time. If you have something like a linear regression, whatever that is, sure. If it works, it's just nothing I use. That doesn't mean it doesn't work. Remember that 468.85 number is that low that we identified before early on. It's not my number, it's Mrs. Market's number, which is just as important. Let's take a look, Armand. 70. That's the next number I've got today. This was the number from earlier. That's no good. Sure. I haven't even done the work yet. Let me go look over there. What were you at? I got 396.15. It's close. That's really the next number I have in the queues of consequence. Doesn't mean they have to get there. It means that's the next number I have of consequence. Volume's pretty decent on the spiders for the first hour. Same with the queues. Pretty heavy. 22 low. Yeah, AMD's at a good place, Eric, give or take right now. Below that, I have to do some more work from a day trade perspective. All right, folks, if you front ran the 469, if you took the give or take of the give or take, if you did, then you think about booking a profit if you haven't already in terms of the base hit. If you didn't buy it, then they just didn't give you what you wanted. It's still as important as it was 5 minutes ago. That answers your question, John W. It's still okay. If they came down to retest, spike the low, get down to 468.85, 469, it's still the same routine. Yeah, that's fine. And you should ask the questions when you're unsure or you want to know more. That's fine. And they're not always the same answers. And that's why asking will give you over time different flavors of why things exist, why they don't, why this is a play it against Sam trade, meaning take another bite at the apple, and why this one isn't. They're all different, but they're all similar in terms of the morning trades. IWM's trying to bounce. Let's take a look, Scott. Yeah. See how important that is? Mrs. Market knows about that place. No doubt about it. That's why I put it up there. She knows. Got another profit target. Twilio. Another short. Another profit target. Another short. No joke. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. That one's weird. Hold on a second. Let me double check that. Oh, entry target. My bad. Gave one away. That was the other short. My bad. Swing trades are clicking off. From a timing perspective, just a touch early on the shorts because end of the year type stuff, but it was right. It was absolutely right. The system worked again. Loaded up on the shorts. Now they're profiting. Apple, sure. I'm still hanging around that place. That's weak. No bounce. But they're only down less than 1% on the day, so it's not a big deal. There's a little gap down here, 182.50, give or take. That's really the next place of consequence. Yeah, end of the year, just kept the shorts up. You know, some of them were down a few percentage points. Some of them were flat. Some of them were still up. They just didn't crack. Now they cracked. It's like cracking an egg. They spill all over. Yeah, pretty much, Mark. Wasn't intended that way, but if it works out that way, then it's working. It's intended to just, Mark's question is, do you use the swing trade methodology as a view to a direction on longer time frame? The algo has been spot on the buys and sells side, meaning loading up on longs or loading up on shorts when the market dictates, which is when it's rising and it gets to somewhat of an extreme, it loads up on the shorts, but it's picking out the stocks that are at the extremes, but it coincides with the market, and that's the way it's supposed to work. So it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. It works because it works. It's hard to explain. Yeah, you got it. It's how you want to look at it. The stocks are topping out, which means the market's probably topping out. It's harder for the market to crack than it is one individual stock. But when the market does crack, like it did over the last couple of days, what happens? The stocks go down. So what happened first? The stocks went down or the market went down? What difference does it make? Who cares? What is this? Oh, is this opposite of ARC? Must be. Just look at ARC. Don't look at the derivative. Look at the thing. It's a big spot. This is a breakout area, right? Big breakup candle. Low is all the way down here, 47.35. Anywhere in here is where they ate time off the clock and broke out. So this is a big spot. They've come back to retest the breakout area. If they don't hold this low, then it's trouble. Then they go down to 46 bucks. That's ARC. So they're at support from here down to 47.35. ARC. Let me look at one more thing on ARC. If you found ARC within the next couple of days, just call it this week, down at 47.18, 47.20, 47.0 something, that they're going to bounce it there. They could bounce it long before that. But if you found them down there, they're going to bounce it there sooner than later. A couple days, 2-3 days. Doesn't matter. It makes no difference. It's ARC. It's just what it is. And here comes your 469. Excuse me. Okay. There you go. 97. Okay. So 468.85 is that place. The zone is right where they are now, down to 468. Bounce back in the other direction zone. Remember what's down here. That moving average is exactly, hold on, I'm going to give it to you, 4. So let's move this down now. We'll put it at 75. And the low is 77. Okay, so if they spike the moving average on the daily chart, which is totally possible, 467.97 is a gap right here. Okay, so that's what we're looking at. Armand covered the Qs for 8.5K. Well done, Armand. That was some trade. We added the money for no time at all. Nailed it. Well done. IWM going lower. Spider's trying to bounce. Just look around, different charts. Doesn't matter what chart we look at. It's about where they are on the chart. Yeah, I agree, Shannon. It's just a thing. You never know what they're going to do. That's over anyway. I think it's into the first couple of that quote unquote ridiculous Santa Claus rally, whatever. So they rallied a few days and they sold off a few days. It's nonsense. They rallied a lot. That's what we know. Call it whatever you want. They rallied a lot. All this stuff. What we do know is the market rarely does what people expect it to do. That's why we always say you never know. You just react to what they are doing if they give you an opportunity. That's the better way to approach it. The other way, you're guessing. Nah, forget it, Bob. Jordan has the numbers. It's a fictitious thing. It's like a coin toss. So it's meaningless. As long as the IWM is weak, we know it can't be a positive for the SPY. Doesn't mean they go in the same direction, but it cannot be a positive. If it turns around, it can be a positive. Starts at the number. They came close and bounced a little bit. That's a creep. It's not the same. It's the same as if it was over here. This is the one you wanted. Still could work. It's just not exactly the same. Market bounces, Upstart will get a bounce as it is. See here, they came close and they basically gave it to you. The high was 36.39. So they basically gave you the trade coming close. Now they've come back down. That's not the same trade. Anything on the VIX? Let's take a look. It's just an uptrend. Not really. It's very hard to get a read on this thing sometimes. If they break above this high, then they'll challenge 1450. That's really all there is right here. So we already know, again, the second thing, or the same thing as before. The market knows about this place. The first order of business in an important place, support or resistance, depending on whether price is above or below, is they stop going in the direction they're going. Then they'll make another decision. That's what's going on here at 468.75. Run? What about run? Okay. I'm not sure. Vin, what do you want to know about run? You are? Okay. It's up to you. Nice pop. Another profit target. There it is. That was a short. Profit target at 68.10. Watch this. Low of day, 68.10. Unbelievable. Another short. Another 6.78%. Armand booked a G.5 on the spiders, on the bounce. Well done. Just a little bit of a bonanza to start the year in the swing trades, huh? IWM getting the bounce. See, they're going to fight this area. That'll be good for the spiders. But like I said before, if they bounce, it can be a positive. If they fall, it doesn't have to be a negative, but it can't be a positive. I'll be back in a minute. Remember, they're all scalps with potential, which means we take the base hit, put it in our pocket, and hold the trailer for the never know. Sean's 3 for 3 on the day. Well done. Eric, you're welcome. You too. 90% of the battle is identifying the important places. If you can't do that, you got no chance. Let's see what's going on over here. Will got 3K on the spiders. Well done, Will. Nice spot, right? Yep, sure was. I'm going to trust that most traders have a profit in their pocket or about to take one, holding a trailer, all that stuff. And not yet. See if they get a little bit higher. I want the profit numbers again. There, that's better. There it is. Okay. It's official. Scalp with potential. Base hits in the pocket. You're holding a trailer for the never know. Don't let the rest go bad on you. I want to hear profit numbers and I'll be right back. How you doing? All right. Let's see. We got Mitch for 5 and a trailer, 5 trailers. Whatever. Great job, Mitch. 1,200 on RTY Bank for Riz. Nice spot on the RTY. 13.5. She's running for Will. How you doing? 795 and counting for Dirk. 700 for Jeremy. 25 points for Dieter. Great job, Dieter. 25 points for, oh, that was Dieter. 2250 plus 3650. 3,900 for both on Michael W. holding trailers. 300 SPY. 235 on Tesla for Kamal. 600 and out for Ed, 19,350 for Will, 500 with trailers for Scott, 52.28 in the pocket for John W. Great job, Will. The Will was just adding on to the other stuff. This is fantastic, folks. 955 for Shannon, 400 and a trailer for David T. Well done, folks. That's just all kinds of awesome. 1,200 on the spiders for Nick. Just let it ride. Holding the trailer, for the never know. Get above 470.10 and that'll promote another move higher if they stay above. It's overhead resistance until it's not. 10 more points for Jeffrey G. Well done. Look at this. This is just profits galore. This is what you signed up for. Patience. All you need is 1 or 2 a day. Believe you me. That's all you need. Would I take 470.10 as a short scalp? Not to say they won't pull back from there, but I wouldn't take it. I'm looking for a secondary run higher. They could do both. But I wouldn't personally take it. Darren, that's a indication to me that you may be looking for another trade immediately after the last trade, and the last trade is still going. So just learning process. Not to say they won't pull back, but it's one of those things where you look at the bigger picture and you say, the gap down, they're now bouncing. Maybe they found a morning low that we look for, or a morning high, depending on which way they're going. Do I want to short right after they just made a low? Not so much. 471.85. Not to say that they're going to get straight there, and not to say they won't have a great pullback before they get there, but from a short perspective, I'm not interested in, unless they got up there quickly. I'm not interested in shorting the tape right now, not after the morning rush, after they're bouncing. I'm not looking for a short here. That's me. Yeah, that's great. Isn't that great when that happens? There's a few of you in here that have your own stuff, and then when your own stuff lines up with my number within pennies, it's at least 9 out of 10 times it's a home run. That's fine, Darren. You're good. Listen, when I see stuff that I want to address because I think it benefits everybody, I take the opportunity. I don't know if I was right with your case in particular, but the general concept was, if we're looking for a short right now at the next possible place, it's generally an indication that we're probably an over trader to a degree, trying to fight that urge. Day moving average was the trigger. That was the target without knowing it was the target. In other words, that was the target, Thomas, that Mrs. Market had for this morning thus far, where she was going to get to and turn around. Now, in advance of that, we didn't know that was going to happen, but we knew a couple of important places, one which produced a bounce early on, and then another one as they went lower, and we were just sitting there waiting for it. And once they started getting closer, that type of place acts as a magnetic thing and it draws price in. And that's what happened. And even if they spiked it a little bit, we had a gap less than $1 lower, or less than $1 lower. And that created a zone, because once they spike on the first hit, the 20-day moving average, when they come from afar, remember they were getting stretched. What did we say in the videos last week? They get a little bit too far from home base, they have to come back to double check in at home base. At least go in that vicinity, let home base creep up the price. What happened? They came back to check in at home base. That's it. So if they spike home base intraday, they're generally going to want to fight back to home base at some point. That's why you can buy a spike of it too. That's what created the zone. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody. And that was exactly, in my mind, the philosophy in that area down there, without articulating everything like I just did. You know, sometimes I don't have time to articulate it all. It's not necessary. But I showed you the 20, and that was good enough. Real nice, Will. Nice morning. It's fantastic. Good, Thomas. 600 on the first trade. Nice job. This is where you're holding the trailer. It doesn't cost you anything to hold it. This is just a fantastic morning. 2 solid trades. Maybe we caught the morning low. And if we did, there's a whole lot more. That's right, Mark. And you never know. I go back to it every day. You never know which ones. You could turn around this afternoon and this thing could be at 473. Who knows? Could be at 471.85. Why not? Yeah, first order of business is you got to get above 470.10, but still. Who's to say they can't or won't? All right, folks, I'm going to be here for another 15 minutes, give or take, but let's just start with the last call for alcohol stuff, because we're obviously not going to put on another trade before the end of the session. So let's use the time wisely. Talk about whatever you want. Yeah, that could happen too, Chad. But it doesn't matter because it's a free ride. So we're not going to let the remaining portion of any trade like this one go bad on us. So if they go down lower, then so be it. Might have missed this, but was the above question answered? Well, Nick, you have to tell me what the question was again, because if I missed it, I'll never find it in this box. Now I found it. Never mind. Now, that was a first time, best time situation. It's a good question. Nick's asking, hey, listen, if they get down to 468.75 or 85 again, is that still another opportunity for a bounce? Not to say they won't bounce it there, but this is certainly at 11 o'clock in the morning when they did this, that's first time, best time. They come lower, maybe it's a spike the low and rip it back, but I would have to look to that gap down here, 467.97. No, it's not another opportunity. It's not a play it again, Sam here. Good question. Thanks, Kamal. That's good to hear. Appreciate you putting that in. 3 weeks in the live room, had one red day. More important, he's learning new things every day, and that's the way it's supposed to work. Thank you. Yes, I teach you to slow it down a bit. You're correct, Jason. I put the brakes on a lot of things that a lot of traders want to do until they realize it might not be the smartest thing in the pencil case. We try and eliminate variable risk out of the situation, out of the trade, out of the would be, could be, might be opportunity. And here's the variable risk that I'm thinking about, why, one of the reasons why 468.75 isn't as good the second time around. It's not as good because first time, best time, but the other reason is because they should have put in under normal garden variety conditions. The way it works is if the market's trading down or up in the morning, they're going to put in that morning pivot, whether it's at 10:30, 11, 11:30, sometimes even afternoon, but they generally will put in a morning pivot. So there it was. Now, if they're going to take out that morning pivot near lunchtime, we may be in store for a different kind of market today. And I'm not going to play games with it. That's variable risk. They don't have trend days a lot, but they do occur. So we're aware of them. If they start trading down, breaking the lows that they made in the morning around lunchtime or beyond, that's a different type of tape typically. So I'm not going to assume that variable risk in the way of putting capital at risk. One thing you learn over time in this business, there's a lot of things you learn, but one of the things you learn is to be satisfied with what Mrs. Market gave you in terms of a profit on a trade. If you followed the rules, followed a process, did it by the book, not anybody in particular's book, just the way you intended to do it, like the way we do it. And if that means it was $1,200 or $300 or $5,600, then so be it. And every day you just go in with that. I don't really care what the number is because I never know what they're going to give me, what she's going to give me. But if I play by the same rules and be consistent, the wins will pile up and I will get the big ones. I will get a lot of base hits and I will get the big ones too, some of them. I won't get all of them, but I'll get some of them, and that's fine. To give you a little, maybe a mental boost, I was on mute a few minutes ago. My son came in and he wanted to show me the performance of his account, his day trading account. He's following along with this, okay? Not in the same room as me, but he's following along whether he's in the house or in his own house. He's here for the holidays. And he hardly trades. He trades maybe 1 or 2 days a week. and he's up 6.5% over the last 4 weeks, but 2 of those included hardly any trading at all with the holidays. And so that's pretty good. He doesn't trade big. He trades the micros, he trades the MES, and he's in for small gains, but he keeps the risk small. He's still learning. Yeah, I'm looking at Armand. I'm looking at the TV now. I see him. That's fine. Yeah. What could he possibly be talking about? Like he knows anything about supply chains. Okay. 11.5 on 5 base hits plus a trailer for Mitch today on the ES. It's a pretty good day, Mitch. I would say so. Well done. IWM. The lower number in the IWM is the gap. We talked about it before. That's it, right? 193.33. There's nothing in between. There's nothing in between. Doesn't mean they have to get there, but it means if they're closing candles below this stuff, below 195.95, first it starts with 10, then 15, then 30, then hourly, 2 hour, then they're down here. But just spiking it and snapping back is just a test. That's just a test. Silver, you're right, Mark. There's no question about it. Silver. SLV, we use SLV. Look where they are. Are they going to come down towards the low of this big candle? And if they do, it opens the door to the gap. If they're below it, this is a big area down here towards the low to this gap. Call it 2040. Today's low is 2090, give or take. In here, that's support. That's a good question, Nick. How and when does a trader increase the size of a trade? How do you decide? It's a pretty simple equation in my book. And the way it works is this. Once you can prove to yourself by a smaller share size, contract size, whatever, position size, that you can be profitable on a consistent basis. So if you start out with an account, make up numbers, $5,000, and you can increase it by a reasonable amount in proportion to the account each and every week. You don't have to win every day, but we win a lot. So if you can increase it a reasonable amount over time, then you say, all right, look, now it's $6,000 or $7,000. And you know what? I'm going to step it up 20% more in terms of if I was playing 5 contracts, I'll go to 7, MES, for example, or whatever the case is, ES, whatever it is. Or I'll go from 5 to 6 or 2 to 3, 3 to 4. And for another week or 2 or 3 and see what happens. And if I'm still, that's fine. Because in reality, there's no difference in the trade, whether you're trading a $5,000 position or a $50,000 position, there's no difference in the trade, but it's your emotions that cause you to make certain decisions. And in order for you to keep your emotions in check, you have to have a position size where if you lose a trade, it's not going to affect you in any way. And so you have to build up to it so it's compounding. So you have to let the account grow, and as the account grows, you increase your position size in proportion. And that's really the way, at least I do it. Any targets on mRNA? 120, 120, and then 125 or 6. 120 to 125 or 6. That's it. Boeing? I think probably you asked that before and I forgot. Okay. There it was. So this is a breakout. So let's see where that came from. See? So we talked about this inverse head and shoulders pattern. So they're coming back to retest the trend line maybe. It's not that close, but it's headed in that direction. There's nothing in between. That's a breakout area. 236, depending on what day they get there, 235, 236, up in there. Yeah, because we make adjustments in different market conditions, Nick. If the market's wild, if we show up in the morning, for example, and the market's wild, I could already tell it's wild. It's been wild last 3 days. It's wild. The volatility spiked, all that stuff. We're going to make adjustments. My numbers are going to be a little bit farther away than when the market's very quiet as the opening bell hits. I'm waiting for something a little bit better, right? Because of the volatility. So I expand the range. And then we trim our position size when the volatility expands to account for the amount of points that you have to give it to spike a number when the volatility expands. So we make all those adjustments. I make all those adjustments. Sometimes you don't even know I'm making them. But I'll tell you that trim the position size when it warrants it, when I believe it warrants it, and there's going to miss some of those too. But when the market increases volatility and the swings are bigger, it's bigger opportunities, bigger risk, bigger opportunities. So you trim the risk. You could still take advantage of the bigger opportunities with a smaller share size, smaller position size. NQ, sure. I mean, I did the work on the NQ already. I know it, but they're not close to a really big time number, which is around 16.3. Maybe a spike of 16.3. And I'll call it 16,270, something like that. And below that, you have this low. We know about that because this is no man's land. If they can get through that, it's the gap. And if it's the gap, it's the trend line. But this number would be the stopper, most likely, from getting all the way down here. NQ. Is the spider going sideways, building energy to get through 470.10? Not yet. They're just creeping. It's slow now. Yeah, look at a 5-minute chart. What do you see? Yeah, possibly, or maybe to get to 470.10. How about to get to 470.10? Keep in mind, this is a 5-minute chart. There's symmetry up here. If they got there anytime soon, just above that, there's symmetry. Up move, sideways, up move, 470.25, give or take. That's symmetry. Over time, your eyes get trained to see certain things. All right, folks, I think we're going to give it a wrap. Don't do stupid stuff in the afternoon. You take what Mrs. Market gave you, and a lot of profits were made today. Do yourself a favor. Keep it in your pocket. Just come back tomorrow and build on it. We'll see you in the video tonight. No stupid stuff. This is a great way to start the year, yesterday and today. One day at a time, one candle at a time, one trade at a time, one opportunity at a time. That's it. This is what you signed up for. You're going to go at my pace. I'm not a rah-rah. I'm not a action kind of trader. We're looking for action. We're not looking for action. We're looking for profit. Okay? So good start to the year. We just keep it at that. We plot along, make money. Yeah, I know that, Will. But somebody wanted to look at the NQ, so I looked at it. 14 screens, 16 trades, not for me. What does that mean, Mark? Yeah, right. Only high quality trades. That's correct. Oh, I have tons of real estate, Chad. You wouldn't believe the amount of screens I have. All in all, it's 10. How many 60s? I have 2 monitors that are these huge wide ones. Forget the dimensions, but I actually get 3 monitors, 327 inches on each of them. So that counts as 6 screens for me. And then I have 3 separate monitors, and then I have a laptop that you're on right now. That's why I always have to go back to my big screens, because the laptop's a 14-inch. But I run the webinar off the laptop, and it's fine. It works for me. The setup, it's basically, I have 2 computers. One has 2 big, long monitors. I forget the dimensions. They're Dell, those wide screens, whatever they are, 40-something inch or something. And you can set them up so that you get, for example, you can set up any way you want. You could have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screens within each monitor windows. And so I have 3 27-inch windows inside of those each wide screens. So that's 6 monitors in total, 6 screens, 27-inch. And then I have 3 more 27-inch. And then I have a laptop. So that's 10. Yeah, Armand, I think that's it. 4919 wide, whatever it is, that's it. The wide ones, the big, huge wide ones. So I got them bolted on a wall on top of one another. And then I have an L-shaped desk, so I have the 3 monitors on the other side, like on the L, 90-degree angle. So I sit in the middle of it. No, Will. That's his nickname, right? Because it was mine too. All right, folks, we're going to wrap it here. All right, we'll be back tomorrow in uniform, ready to go. Great day, great start to the year. Leave it at that. Don't do stupid stuff. We'll see you in the video tonight and enjoy the rest of the day. Appreciate everybody.